Welcome, everybody.
Hello there.
Welcome to our podcast. This is the Connor, Joe, Akshay, and Ryan's super informative podcast.
This is correct.
Here today, I have with me here Connor,
What's up, my home dog?
Joe,
I am Joe.
Okay,
and
hi,
Akshay.
me, hi.
That's Akshay.
That's kind of rude. Well, Akshay is a little bit, on edge at the moment because
Not having it.
to you guys, this may be our first podcast. This is actually our second. Actually, why is this our second? And they haven't heard our
Explain to
second.
us.
Okay,
Tell
fine,
us,
okay.
tell us.
So we basically filmed a podcast
And what did you do?
It
And
was
what did
Okay,
you do?
okay. We filmed a podcast we're talking about video games, and we individually recorded our voices on our laptops, and somehow my recording got
You
deleted.
lost it. You deleted it.
I deleted it by
An
accident.
hour of
Okay, it was an
footage.
honest mistake. This is the first time I did it, okay?
And he's never going to do it again. Am I correct?
So today we're recording this all together in the same
Yeah.
room. So
to
that
make sure
Akshay-
you don't do it again.
Okay,
to make sure you learn.
Okay.
So as you heard from Akshay, the first one was about video games. This
Yeah.
one is about toxic masculinity. So the topics kind of jump around a little, and hopefully we're just hoping that you enjoy it and maybe learn something.
Yeah.
Potentially.
I think the point of it is just to have a talk about something. If each of us learn from one another, solid. I think we're all very interesting people. If you guys learn, if you guys as listeners learn anything, then so be it.
And
If you disagree, let us know.
And this is our own subjective opinion. We're using definitions as well for the topic to kind of jumpstart our discussion.
Okay,
so this is
exactly.
our
We have done
So-
a little bit of preliminary research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So we're just gonna start it off by, what is toxic masculinity?
Well,
I think Joe.
Let's go. What is masculinity?
What is
Let's
masculinity?
Just talk about general masculinity. So,
Okay.
We're all men.
Yeah.
Actually, less so.
Actually, as a boy.
But why does that matter?
That's all I wanted to
Okay.
say.
Actually, would you like to explain to us what masculinity is?
Is the Google definition.
So the Google definition is qualities or attributes regarded as characteristics of a man.
Mm.
So
Penis.
what would that be, Joe?
A penis.
oh,
I think
yeah.
the number one attribute to be a man is you got a penis.
We're gonna have to censor.
However, a penis?
I mean, maybe.
No,
No.
it's fine.
Fine.
However,
Continue.
some people would say different, because some people say that's it makes you a male.
I think
Am I right?
that's the more biological.
Yeah, that's the one.
The biological thing that makes you a man or a female. It's not the penis for the female.
That's yeah.
They have their own stuff.
Guys,
But masculinity is sort of the characteristics that are attributed to being a man.
Yeah. So
it's
what
the cultural norms that society deems that a typical man should have.
Thank you, Connor. You should talk more.
Yeah.
You should.
But toxic masculinity, I think, is the idea that society doesn't want these men to express other things. That's my opinion.
if you go,
So
it's the cultural norms, and if you
if you stray from
if you stray from those cultural norms, you'll be judged differently and perhaps not as a man.
yeah. So a man talking about his feelings. Nowadays, the society is changing to the point where that's very acceptable. But there's still
It still doesn't happen.
I still
Yeah,
no.
it's
So
this-
I think the thing about you saying that society is changing, it's less society is changing, but the views are changing. The actions themselves aren't. It's the same with a lot of things. It's the same with I think at least the same with racism, sexism, all of the isms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if there's systemic issues, the views might change, the views of people might change, but there's very often little done about it.
And
However,
it's still ongoing as well.
Exactly.
It's
I think-
however, that's off topic.
I think
Yeah.
most of the things that aren't changing are almost to do with the older generation.
Yes.
I think the younger generation's views are changing, and as they start coming into power, being able to change things,
Yeah.
then society will start seeing changes.
Facts.
Yeah, but For me, I associate toxic masculinity with again, just something negative about, like, what am I trying to say?
So, the toxic is used very, like, I think far too often nowadays. Like, I still don't really understand what it means. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, toxic, like, people say, oh, I've got toxic friends. It's like, what? Are they just bad friends? Are they, like, what makes them toxic specifically rather than just shite friends? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just fake hoes. They don't deserve your love.
Okay.
Exactly.
So toxic masculinity, I think, is just what, like, certain characteristics such as maybe abusing your power or, like, intimidation.
No,
Can
I,
that-
no, no,
no,
I'd
no,
say
no, I
I'd
don't
say
think
it's
so.
I'd say
No.
it's things like sort of the general, like, idea, like, this is a sort of like the idea that the man is sort of like supposed to be quite strong and very, and that the whole thing of not being very open with emotions, just very, like, sort of a symbol of power, I guess, was like if you're looking at, like, really old school.
Yeah.
So, but I think... no,
I'm
go on.
clearly not an example of that.
Well, I mean, you do you, man. But I think what makes it toxic is when it interferes with life. Do you know what I mean? I think that's like frat guys in the US.
Jeez.
Yo.
Like that kind of like, oh, I'm a man. Oh, I don't talk about my feelings. Oh, you
Drink a lot of booze
I
and
drink
get
a lot
with
of
girls.
booze. Yeah.
Well, this is like a generalization, like
Oh,
from
no,
what
no,
we've
no,
seen
yo,
from
yo, yo,
entertainment.
no, like,
yo,
that's
okay.
a...
No.
That's-
I was talking to someone and they were telling me, like, they had a sister that was in college and they were saying that in one of the frat, like, houses there, the initiation is you get, like, branded, like,
What?
Holy
like,
fuck.
branded.
That's illegal.
That is messed as.
Yeah.
That's
like,
that's if anything worse than the movies.
Well, coming back to movies, like for me, where I've seen toxic masculinity, like the first representation of toxic masculinity was Back to the Future, like Biff.
We have to go
Oh
back.
yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, no, I can
because
see it
Biff,
in
like
Biff.
a lot of most.
Biff
of
is the Biff. For anybody who doesn't know, Biff is the bully that messes with Marty McFly when he goes.
He's like the
back.
antagonistic
movie.
character, and a lot of his actions are very like he uses his strength as well to force women onto, like, he forces women onto them.
He rapes them.
Like
Fadoos.
yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah,
he?
he sexually
Jesus.
harasses,
In the-
because he harassed Marty McFly's
Mom, and then tried to force her.
Can I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
define...
That's
I
rape.
Can I
did
just-
not watch this movie.
No, he sexually harassed.
I just
them,
want to define. I said fair dues to you for just calling it out as rape, not fair dues to him.
Okay.
People.
Okay,
That would
that's just
be.
a clarification
I don't want
there.
that to be
Misinterpreted.
misinterpreted. Yeah.
But also, like, I saw James Bond, like, do you know Sean Connery, Sean Goldfinger, and
The
basically
only James Bond film I have watched is
Goldfinger.
the
Is
last
it-
Spectre. I've only ever
Wait, is
See, that
the-
wasn't that good.
Is that the Skyfall guy?
No, that's
No,
what are you
that's
serious?
Daniel Craig.
Okay, then I've got nothing
Wow.
in.
So
I've got
and
nothing in
it's
this
like
conversation.
I see a lot of
Neither do
like movies, kind of maybe 20 or still maybe now. Just I've seen movies before where a lot of like the protagonists in the movies are like kind of excused for doing like things that kind of are just weird, because basically in Goldfinger, James Bond a lot like uses his power as well to leap onto women. I saw the scene where basically he's forcing himself onto a woman and making out with them, kind of, and I saw that as very...
So that's interesting you say that, because I almost have the opposite. When I think of masculinity in movies, there's always two kinds. Most of the time it's protagonist and antagonist, and the protagonist is usually very respectful and very he's still very masculine, which I don't think is a problem, but he is always respectful and he's always like, and for me that's what makes that's what masculinity is to me. Whereas there's always that other side of masculinity where it's like oh, I'm too tough, you know what I mean? Like that's what I think of as toxic masculinity is.
Yeah, I think
like the classic male antagonist in a film where it's or Biff.
But I think there are some parts of there are some parts of masculinity that we should almost hold on to, like everything's like about equality at the moment, equality for everyone, no matter what race you are, gender, anything. But I personally still like do the whole chivalry thing. I like holding doors open for.
Me too, actually.
For women and sometimes men.
I think that's just being polite.
Yeah, it's just being polite. And
it shouldn't really be.
That's like always.
It shouldn't really be like put into I think that should be like a general thing. You should just. You should just be nice, like.
Yeah. Okay, I get that.
So for me,
but I get what you mean.
So for me, a lot of what I think of as masculine is my dad. My dad is
Nick.
Nicholas Cotton, absolute legend. He's lovely guy, one of the best people I know. He's like very active.
Freak of
still.
nature. Freak of nature.
He's mahusive.
I don't know who you guys are talking about. I call him sir.
Sorry. Excuse me. But he's also very real. Like he doesn't sugarcoat things, and I think that's really. For me, one of the things that I view as important almost is making sure that not everything you say, you want to say. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
You meant what you said, and you said what you meant.
Yes, sir.
Kind of thing. What about you guys?
Like,
where do you get your views as being? Even that. Do you guys think it's important to have views of being a man and
I think
trying to adhere to that, or not?
Life,
I don't really care, to be honest. I just do what I want.
Yeah.
Not the best thing to. I think that personally, I don't look at it as what I want to be as a man. I want to what I want to be as a person.
As a person, yeah.
Because quite frankly, gender doesn't really. I don't really. I know I'm a man, but I'm not okay, but I am a man, so I have to do this, and I can't do that because that's something that females do.
Yeah.
It's if I want to do it, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by.
You want to wear a skirt? You want to wear a skirt to school?
I've done that
You're
before.
Gonna fucking wear a skirt to school.
I've done that before as well.
You've worn a skirt?
In sports day, I ran.
My guy.
I ran the 100 meters with a skirt.
I wore Amelia's skirt once.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was referencing. Yeah. What about you, Connor? You haven't actually talked at all.
Connor,
you seem
I think
to have a lot to say.
let's talk about the next prompt, okay?
All right.
And the next prompt is, how prominent do we think this is in our daily lives? Connor, let's talk about your life.
I would say that
I think you're on the other end of this. You're
very true.
On the spectrum, you're at very opposite end of I don't care what anything is meant for. I will do anything no matter what gender it's meant for.
True. And to be fair, throughout my life I have got judged for it, not gonna lie. Not in not in a negative way, but if I had to count the amount of times someone's called me gay, I wouldn't it's in the hundreds. It's gotta be in the hundreds.
Well, even us as your best mates have been Connor, mate, we're not saying it's a problem.
Yeah.
If you are, just give us a heads up. We're not going to say anything.
Yeah, and my family thinks it too.
Exactly, but
yeah.
Do you think do you reckon that's a problem?
It's not a problem.
It didn't. I'd say there was maybe a little bit of time where it bothered me, but then I just stopped caring.
And
I
absolutely respect that.
I've always been dude, I used to wear lipstick when I was 6, and then I used to walk around in dresses when I was 8.
I
just wear my sister's dresses.
I heard some of the girls were gonna go get their nails done yesterday, and I heard that you had a conversation with Joe about what you were gonna get.
Dude, no, I was so ready to go. Dude, I haven't painted my nails in so long, and I was going to Beijing last year. And then I had nail polish, and my mum made me take it off because she thought I'd get detained.
Wait, why?
Because China's not a very open society.
China might not have taken to that kindly, to put it lightly.
Especially in Beijing.
But I feel with me it hasn't really been a problem, but I can see in other. But I think that's just because Hong Kong's pretty I think overall a pretty non-judgmental place.
I'd say I think
compared to other countries.
I'd say they're just as judgmental. It's just they're nowhere near as verbal.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah.
If,
Okay, yeah,
if
never mind,
they
yeah.
have, they're really polite. So even if they have views that you may not agree with, or they don't agree with what you're doing, they won't say.
At least in this sense. At least in this sense. There are other facets of Hong Kong where it's very different.
But also, I think in the international school community.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You can do the fuck you want. Like I could.
So open.
I could run
That's
around.
also we're not. It's because I think that's the other. We're not very connected to. Because we're all we're like all expats.
Yeah.
So we're not very connected to local, as in like local Hong Kong culture. We're very much within our more international communities.
So if you saw any of the students in the school next to us, if you talk to them and they met Connor or did something similar to what Connor does or would like to do, they wouldn't, or at least I reckon they wouldn't be
as quiet.
The school would shut it down. The school would be like, no, you're not having that. So I think it's a similar. So in the UK,
It's almost.
Go on.
It's almost the environment that we're in that enables us to be that free.
Because it's international and
it
is quite diverse from our standpoint at least.
The UK.
Sorry, yeah. So the UK, it's sort of that, like the school uniform thing. That
oh God.
has always confused me. That like
I used to go to one.
Why would you? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what? Can you give us an example of how that's?
Well, I basically at the age of 8, I had to wear a suit and a blazer and like learn how to tie a tie.
Sorry, just for some context, where were you?
I was in Ireland, and I went to a private school in Ireland with a bunch of very prestigious.
I had to do that too.
You had to do that too.
I was in Australia, and they were like a Christian school, and they were
Oh,
like,
I had a
go
Christian
to church.
No, I had to say a morning prayer, but I couldn't remember any of it except for Amen at the end, so I'd mumble until the end.
I fainted in church once.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Wait, what?
So,
No, okay, so yeah, basically it was very much set from the beginning. Like, they sort of have a standard for you. You have to be very.
Exactly.
It's so very
They put you in a mold,
formal. Like they suit you up. You got to sit down. No elbows on the table, which I think is It's the stupidest manner that anyone's ever invented. But that's a different topic.
Yeah, a lot of the things.
That's a different conversation.
That's a good
a lot of the
thing,
things that like Christian and Catholic schools do, they take influence from the obviously the Catholic Church, and a lot of their rules are.
Why?
I wonder why. Maybe because they're Catholic.
No, I don't even want to.
No. Continue.
No, but it's just that a lot of the rules there are like extremely strict and date back to like Bibles and I can't talk about Christianity. I don't know much.
They date back to Bibles.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if you can't go.
No, but my point is that so you want to.
Yes,
I'm presuming, have your nails painted.
Oh hell yeah!
If you wanted to, you would want to come into school wearing a skirt.
Oh hell yeah!
You dye your hair whatever color you want, right?
For sure.
Bloody put on makeup in the morning.
I've done that before, but maybe on the regular would be.
Actually,
cool.
You've done it with Sharpie, mate.
Okay. That was like year 8. Okay, I was.
That was before he was educated in the ways of makeup.
Yeah.
Do you know that I carry blue eyeshadow in my bag wherever I go?
I used to carry a thing of lipstick. Actually, I've never put it on, but I've always thought about it.
I don't know why, but I found some lipstick in my room the other day.
I opened one of my cupboards and I just found like nail polish, like eyeshadow, like I have an eyelash curler.
What?
Careful with those. You can cut your eyelashes off.
Dude, I always thought those things were so weird.
Actually,
I thought like they looked scary.
Eyelashes.
They look genuinely scary.
They look like little guillotines for your eyelashes. Yeah. So that's actually another interesting topic is like that sort of men and makeup kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So because I've got a sister, and
Same.
And she's pretty good at makeup, and my mother is also similar. She's not as into it because she doesn't have time anymore, but very good artists, and they both use face paint. So I know my way around. If I wanted to, I could probably do a full face of makeup right now and bake it and set it for you for the boys.
Next podcast?
Right? Absolutely.
No, like video. I need like
for sure
time lapse.
Yeah, I could do it on Connor.
Done.
However, so as a little anecdote, we in the last school musical, I did my own makeup, right, and everyone was like, "Hang about, Joe, you're not actually that bad. You know what you're talking about." And then
It sounds like Chapman.
and
You
then
looked fine that day.
and then I did
You looked
it.
Fine.
I did it the last day, almost completely by myself, and everyone kind of looked at me and went, "Joe, are you? Like, are you gay, mate?" And I'm like, "No, why is this making me gay?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's the same thing with
Like everyone just assumes that you are, and it's like
or like everyone assumes that you're you just have no idea what you're talking about with something like makeup.
I think another example that's a little bit like that, but maybe a bit different, is I blanked his name. Billy Elliot, the dancer.
Yes.
How he started ballet as a kid, and everyone he knew thought he was gay just because he danced. And that's like, it's sort of those like things
But
that
that's
generally women do that men get into.
So that's an interesting story actually, because it's his parents, I think, wanted him to be a boxer.
Yeah.
So he started off boxing, and then he went to the dance class, and he got really into dance, but no one would let him because he was like proper northern, like
Ireland?
No, yeah.
Northern England.
That's another thing. When I lived in Ireland and we went to school, we had to do a dance, and we had a choice between Irish dancing and ballet. All the boys did Irish dancing. No one even entertained the idea of doing ballet because it was seen as feminine.
Yeah.
And then we knew no, I'm gonna be honest with you right now. I wanted to do ballet, but I knew they'd make fun of me if I did it.
Mate.
So is that peer pressure?
I fucking want to do ballet. That's sick. That's sick. That's so for me, a man doing ballet is a proper man. Do you know what I mean?
They're so muscular.
They're so impressive.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
control that they have is insane. Similar with cheerleaders, actually. Everyone calls male cheerleaders gay. Once again, they're top shit. Have you seen them? Like they chuck people around
what
like
about
no one's
gymnasts?
business. Or
Coming
gymnasts.
from
gymnasts
a former cheerleader.
Did somebody call you gay when you were cheerleading?
Shut up.
no, but gymnasts as well. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Freaking
impressive.
massive and
But
ripped.
bloody Niall Wilson.
dude, I told my mom I want to be a
So-
gymnast because you're
gymnast.
so flexible and
Yeah,
just
it's so
ripped.
impressive.
Like, did you see the kids who do gymnastics?
Yeah.
On like the
Yeah.
development squads in the UK.
It's
No,
stupid.
No, I always thought out of all the sort of, if I was going to be an athlete, I'd be a gymnast. And
Yes.
what captivated me was, did you guys
I
ever
want to be an athlete first, mate.
Shut up. Shut up. Okay. Did you guys ever play Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games?
That's not an athlete. Come on.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Let me finish.
E-athlete.
Shut up. Let me finish my story. I was 8 years old. Okay. And you could do the trampoline with Wario. And when Wario would do those somersaults, I was like, man, I want to do that.
Man, I want to do that.
Man.
So
When I see Wario do those flips, I'm like,
I think we're
no, it's still on topic.
It's sort of on top. It's
So,
a
but
bit.
what's
It's a
your-
bit of a rant.
what's your point with that though?
Oh, nothing. I
Are you
was
saying
just,
Wario's like a
that's just where I got my fascination with gymnastness.
gymnastness.
Okay,
Yeah,
correct.
So, where have we gone with this? How can we?
Okay, we're gonna bring it back
Yeah, that's what I
to the
was-
main points. So does it bother you, and are you affected by toxic masculinity in your life? I think we've already touched upon this with Connor.
Yeah.
Joe,
Yeah, but
Joe a little
Yeah.
with the
Oxides.
whole makeup
Yeah.
thing.
I get-
how do you feel?
I get kind of I'm a really sensitive person, and I get really I get sort of offended for some reason that if someone's
get what you
oh
mean.
you're such a girl and stuff
Yeah.
I don't know, I just get very offended and defensive because I don't see the point. I just want to be me.
But how does that make you feel? Like what? Like what? So can you give us an example of when someone's done that?
Okay, so let me think. Maybe so if I wasn't invited to hang up
Yeah.
and something, and I was oh, I'm really sad about it, kind of, and then someone would be like, oh, bro, just grow up, it's fine.
That's another term that we should use. Just like man up.
Yeah, like
That's a term that is very. I think that's mainly one of the things that like almost roots the toxic masculinity problem.
Yeah. Have you ever been told to man up?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I've never been told to man up.
For real?
No, my dad's always said harden up. He's never once.
But
said
does
man
it not
up.
sort of insinuate the same sort of thing? I guess
It does, but it doesn't.
No, because he says the
specifically
same
point out
to my
gender.
sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says take a concrete pill to harden up because he's an absolute idiot. But like it's not rooted in men or like. Do you know what I mean? I mean, hardening up maybe. But
Okay.
But my point being that I grew up in a household that was never like, oh, you've got to be this. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But I've always I was able to create those situations myself to get me where I am today.
Facts.
Fair enough.
So, in what situations have you guys been told to man up, and what do you feel? Because if I feel like if I was told to man up, I'd be like, I mean, yeah, okay. What do I do with that information? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I haven't been told it recently, but mostly like when you're a kid and you're like, usually when I'm in a fight with my dad, and I'm like crying or whatever, because crying isn't seen as like a manly thing.
Indeed.
And then
We need to get onto that later.
and then he'll just say, "Oh, man up," like.
It just like puts you down.
It's
a
like
bit
it's
more,
just
I think.
implying that what you're doing first of all isn't manly,
Yeah.
and that's like not good for some reason, and also that men are like. It almost implies that men are better than women.
It absolutely does.
Yeah, because women are. It's acceptable for them to cry, but saying that
Because women
men
are
shouldn't do
emotional
it is
and
like
women
saying that you're at a higher tier. So.
This
You
is
shouldn't,
true.
you
I didn't
shouldn't
think about it
stoop
like that.
that low.
Yeah.
That's
Think about it like that. Good as
Pretty
well.
messed.
How did you think about it before then?
I don't know. I just never thought of it from that sense.
So
Like-
that's what I'm saying. What sense did you think about it in? So
Did you just-
so talk about. So
I
do
no,
some-
it's just I hadn't thought about it in terms of the idea that it implies that men are better than women.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it
You
from
just
that
looked
sense.
at it as like.
I just sort of it as like they like sort of the idea that men have to be this. I hadn't really thought about what it implies in terms of women.
Yeah.
Especially
true.
in the current society, it's really counterintuitive to like what everyone's really fighting for.
This is facts.
Go on then, Akshay. Sorry, there are people outside the window that's
Waving at us.
waving at us. Exactly.
Waving at everyone.
Go on then, Akshay.
About.
Well, how do you?
Well,
how-
like when someone says "man up," what does that
what
mean?
scenario have
What
you
is that?
heard it in?
Probably when I've cried. Yeah. I've been probably told when I was younger.
Do you
Yeah.
just to check? Were you told it by like an older person or a younger person?
Older.
Older.
And
okay.
probably younger. Just probably because I was bullied a lot at school by Ryan. Okay, Ryan hated me when we were
Yeah,
younger.
but everyone hated Ryan, so it's alright.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, it's
but
all
like
good.
then again, I would take everything so personally. But
Oh,
yeah.
man up, mate! Come on, bloody hell! No, but so that's another interesting topic. You both mentioned Connor hasn't given us an anecdote yet, but you both mentioned that it's a crying thing.
Yeah.
So what is it about? So again, for me, my parents have never told me not to cry, other than if they're angry at me and I start crying because they're angry at me. They say, "Don't cry, because you've been an idiot. It's not. You shouldn't be crying. It should be me that's crying." But like, so in my household, you can if you've got emotions, you can have at it. However, I've never seen my dad cry, and for me, I've never.
Same.
Neither have I.
Same.
I have seen my
dad cry.
mum cry once
Yeah,
or twice,
same,
but it's a
same.
real rarity.
Yeah, same.
I've never seen my dad.
I've never
cry.
seen
Yeah.
my dad cry.
Yeah, I nearly did the other day actually. But it's like for me. That's sort of when I was younger. I used to internalize a lot of emotions, and it would be like every when I was younger. It would be like every quarter of a year I would have a massive cry, and then like get it all out of your system, and then just restart.
It's all,
Yeah.
Now it's every year, every couple of years.
I used to cry quite a lot, but I haven't cried in like 3 years.
I think I was the same as you kind of when I was younger. Like my household was accepting of it.
Yeah.
It was just maybe like it was.
There's still like a stigma.
Yeah, but for me personally, I would internalize everything because I always felt that it was not manly to cry.
Yeah,
But like
actually
I
same.
realized how understanding my parents are and how they are open they are. So like throughout the course of my childhood, I would internalize everything, and until recently, like maybe 3-4 years, I was able to express my feelings properly, and I actually feel like I've developed more as a man.
Let's thank Nosh for that.
Yeah.
Factual. Thank you, Nosh.
In my household, I think my mom is accepting, but my dad, I don't think he has emotions. And that's because I think he was raised by like a military dad in a household with 4 other kids.
It's like just you can't. There's no time for emotion.
It's not like it's
so
like do what you're told. That's it.
exactly. So
And he almost like, I don't think it changes with the times. He sort of expects the same.
Yeah.
So like if I want to share my emotions, I have to find like a time when my mom's alone, and do it then.
Oh, you have to show your emotions with your mum.
Yeah.
See, I'm the opposite. I wouldn't. If I have something really deep, I wouldn't go to my mum. I'd go to my dad.
If I'm hammered, I'll go to my dad.
Yeah, but he'd have to be pissed too.
Yeah.
What about you guys? If you guys are like a really emotional, because I find this really interesting.
I don't tell my family.
I did this the other day. You wouldn't tell your
No,
family?
no one. I wouldn't go to anyone.
Would you tell anyone?
I'd tell you before anyone in my family.
Really?
Like, easily.
So what? Why is that? What like what's?
I have no I don't know what I would tell I'd tell like someone I like don't know before I tell my family.
Oh, that doesn't make it special
Yeah.
anymore.
Like, so like.
I don't
Why?
know.
Just so you can tell it to someone, so that you don't have to then live in the same household as someone who knows your secret kind of thing, or is it?
I don't know. I've never like, I'm not gonna say it's trust. It's just that's never how I've ever looked at it. I've never felt comfortable in sort of sharing personal things with my family. It's because sort of things like, they're not always like very deep emotional things. Like also like the entire topic of like just love. I don't like on the topic of like love or like people I like. That information does not go anywhere near my family like at all. It like stays between like
Except me.
What?
Your parents know all about me.
So that's actually interesting. Like how do you guys respond to being emotional? Because I really hate my responses.
I'm kind of the same as you, but less with my family, more with Joe.
What do you mean?
I've known him for 7 years, and when I first became friends with you, it was like
The worst day of your life?
Yeah, obviously. No, I think it was the worst day of yours, Joe.
Yeah,
it was
for you.
It was before I like learned what my emotions were. I was still at the phase of like I'm man, don't share emotion.
Yeah, you used to be really bad with that.
So our relationship, we don't really do the emotional talk thing.
No,
we don't. We do it more recently.
No, yeah. So in the past, so since I think it's been the
Okay, yeah, but that's because I was forced to do it the first time, and then I sort of just kept going.
Well, yeah, so the first time that I really saw you upset was when, I think it was after swimming for me, and you'd punched a wall, and I think you'd broken your knuckles.
I heard about that.
And that was the first time that I'd ever seen, I think that was the first time that you guys broke up. And you were like...
Oh no, I do remember that,
You were not...
I was not having it.
You were not having that, mate.
Yeah, but I think that's like, in the newer relationships that I've made, like with Connor per se, I'm very good at sharing my emotions with Connor.
Indeed.
Like, if I have a problem, I will go to Connor first.
Yeah.
What I find funny is that I feel like a lot of people are very comfortable telling me things.
Yeah.
But I'm not...
You're a very comfortable person.
No, but the thing is, I don't feel comfortable telling other people things. It's not because I don't trust you guys. It's just for some reason I don't enjoy telling things to anyone. Like, the weird thing is there's like a select like people that I will feel comfortable telling things to, and it's usually people I'm not close with at all. And actually the people I tell the most to are like people that have left. Like people that are not near me. Like,
so like Sam?
Yeah, like Sam and Will. Like I'll tell them so much because I don't know. It's just like
I get that. It's probably
It's-
because
I
they
don't
have
know, I just-
connections.
it's. I guess it's almost like more disconnected. I guess it's that.
I get that.
Yeah,
I guess
well,
it's a feeling of like confidentiality. But even
Yeah.
though I know that I can tell you guys things, it's
Yeah,
just.
yeah.
Yeah,
For
like
some
they
reason-
don't-
They're outside
they
your
don't have the
bubble.
ability-
They're
Yeah.
outside the
And
bubble.
for some reason, a lot of people tell me things, and I don't know why.
It's a curse.
Dude, no.
Is it? Do you think it's a bad thing though?
Oh no, it's not a bad thing. It's just it confuses me because sometimes it's people that I personally don't think I'm very close to,
Oh, yeah.
but they obviously think. No, I felt really bad about that in the past. I've had people that like feel that they're very close to me, but I didn't feel the same.
Alright, without saying names. Like,
Yeah, you.
Oh. So that's actually interesting because I feel like there are certain people who are like that. Like, for example, I have to force him. He's like a sponge to everyone else.
Yeah.
He'll take in whatever shit you give him.
Yeah.
It'll be but he never gives
Yeah.
anything away from himself, and I know that he's an incredibly emotional person, and he just doesn't tell anyone. He's got a lot of shit going on, so I feel like the need to try and talk to him about something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just so he can get it off his chest.
Mm.
I get that.
For sure.
I also had another point to say, but I can't remember it. So someone save me.
So like I don't know. So we're just gonna ask a couple questions to the audience here for a second while somebody thinks of something to say. First off, do you guys have any experience with toxic masculinity yourself? If you are actually watching this. Second off, we were talking about potentially bringing on a female onto this podcast to like get an almost opposite perspective. Because like surely there must be something that they like the feminine
Something that we just don't
femininity.
realize. Yeah.
Toxic femininity. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
What is it?
definitely. Like things like,
Is that even true?
especially in like the media, it's because it's this whole
Oh,
thing
yeah.
that's been like it's the whole thing of body image. I think that's a huge
yeah,
thing
yeah.
in that. Who are all the models? Like basically all models are like tall, white, skinny women. Hi Kendall Jenner. Hello Kendall Jenner.
Yeah.
Hello Kylie Jenner. Hello Kardashians.
And I think they've created that
Kim's
image.
not tall, is she?
So
Kendall is tall. What do you mean?
Kim.
Oh, Kim. Kim's pretty tall, I think.
Oh,
yeah, she is.
Connor, resident Kim Kardashian expert.
Bro, no. Did I watched the first season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians?
Oh, yeah, because he
that's
came
a
out
new
on
low
Netflix.
for you.
Yo. It
Yeah, but I
sucked.
think the whole body image thing, whilst it can connect to men as well,
Yeah,
I
I'd
think
say
it
it
definitely-
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
does.
Because,
definitely-
like-
but I feel like it's much more prolific
It's
with the female
so much
with
more
population.
women, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
It's because it's so much more.
because like the thing is, I has kind of had the slight feeling that men are a bit more accepting. Of,
Yeah,
like,
no,
of,
100%.
Well, no,
of
'cause
other
we
men's
still-
bodies.
We can
Oh.
absolutely. So we can look at a guy and be like, "Hey, nice fucking beer belly, mate." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
if-
you respect a good beer belly,
if
or
you
like you
could-
respect a good like dad bod. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you see
Yeah.
like a fat girl, you're like, "Ew, gross." You being society, obviously.
Ah,
I don't-
okay.
I
Okay,
don't-
okay.
That's
Okay.
That
I was
would
just
be
like that.
bad.
That's Joe's actual.
Yeah, no.
Gross!
Disgusting.
No.
That was just for context. He doesn't actually think that way.
No, but yeah. So
You're sweating like.
I sweat like no one's business, man.
Yeah, so like, I think the thing that society is really trying to do is like make sure that everyone feels accepted, because especially in women.
I guess that's
A more
that's-
progressive society, I
I
think.
wouldn't say it's the people. I think people are trying to. I think
I think
society
even-
and people are like two different.
I think society. I could say society because people are working together, but also like companies and stuff.
But
Like,
there's different
no,
types
Like
of society.
modeling companies are doing special initiatives to hire
People of
plus
different.
size women for models.
Yeah, just trying to expand.
Yeah,
like,
they're trying to make sure
so
that,
that peop-
everyone has something that they can fit into, feel comfortable in, and like look good in.
Yeah, and sort of showcase. It's because
Especially, like-
I can understand that in terms of with like guys and girls especially. If you like look at like when we're in like Central or something, and you see like the posters of all these like
Yeah.
do you like for a lot of people, I feel like you never see someone that you're like that they look like me.
I almost feel like
If you get what I mean.
Western society is more pushing that stronger.
In terms of the variety.
Yeah.
I think now, but it's still there's still things like Victoria's Secret.
I think
Victoria's Secret is
Oh
like
my god.
Victoria's
it's
Secret is
horrific.
messed up. Victoria's Secret like basically promotes anorexia.
I
Yeah,
know.
wasn't it
Like-
Victoria's Secret that tried to do the plus size campaign? Or
No,
was that not
no,
them?
I didn't think it was Victoria's.
No,
If
they
it's
wouldn't.
Victoria's Secret, I'm sorry, Victoria's Secret. But from what I've
If you're listening to
We
this.
love-
Yeah,
The
we
entire company.
We love your
five
stuff.
people, yeah,
But you just
Send
gotta
me-
do better, bro.
send me some merch.
And he will.
I'm ready.
I'd love to see Connor in a thong. That would be
I'm a
so
cup size
funny.
B.
That would be so
Bruh.
funny.
Bruh. No, but it's and also I think a lot of models themselves have come out and talked about it.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
read
So-
one. I read one recently. I forgot who it was. It might have been one of the Bella Hadids or the Gigi Hadids. It might not be. Don't
You mean
quote-
one of the Hadids?
one of the Hadids. Shut up. And don't quote me on this, but it was just them talking about how when breaking into the model industry, that just like that need. No, it was Emily Ratajkowski.
Ratiko with the big.
Ratajkowski. Yeah.
Let's just call her Emily R.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was talking about how like there was like such pressure for her to stay like so skinny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And
And again, I'm not sure if it was her. It might be.
I think I saw it on Snapchat.
And it's
or
just
something.
like I
She
guess
is really skinny.
I think one thing is a lot of models after they have kids, they find it really hard
Yeah.
because it's like almost impossible for them to
Yeah,
get back
and-
into
yeah.
the
And the
field.
thing is, sometimes I see on Instagram things like people sort of saying, "Oh my God, look at her! She gave birth." Like Kylie Jenner, when Kylie Jenner gave birth, "Oh my God, look at Kylie Jenner! It's only been like 3 weeks, and look at her. She's
That's
so." And
because
I'm
she's
like,
been starving herself and
yeah,
exercising
yeah,
like
and
hell.
it's like. I don't know that. I don't think that should be celebrated
I don't-
because
yeah.
you don't. There's no one that like just by chance just looks fine after pregnancy. You got to like be doing something that is
She would probably have
Yeah.
had surgery.
not something not fun.
It's not.
So, sorry to interrupt, but we're on 42 minutes at the moment, and I want to raise this question that I think will be interesting. Yes, I absolutely agree. Just to play the devil's advocate, is there a point where you
Yes.
can would
I
it
agree.
Is there
on the
a point where
opposite?
it's too far to be
Yeah. So
accepting of it?
exactly. So should we be seeing obese models like genuinely
I think
bad for
no.
their health?
I think I may get a little bit of hate for this. I think no. Whilst everyone should feel comfortable in their own body, just like with somebody who's anorexic, and you're like, come on, like that's not good for you. We're not gonna like celebrate you for being that.
from a
skinny.
health
We
standpoint.
should.
I think
We
you-
also there's also the other spectrum where you shouldn't celebrate somebody for being that like
Well, exactly.
that unhealthy.
It's about
large.
health as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think,
Yeah.
at the
I think
health
there should be a
standpoint.
range of like, from here to here, you can live as a human being. If you're this, you're gonna probably die of anorexia. If you're this, you're gonna die young of obesity.
Exactly. So that's
And there we should have models in the middle section, and the other two we should not celebrate that.
that's what I'm trying to say. Like people. So the thing is, people.
pent up in Joe for years.
No, because people have gone. Oh, mate, the models are too skinny. That's not healthy. Understandable. Absolutely
Yeah.
agree with it. So instead of just being like, okay, let's sort of rework it and then look at a healthy range, they went to the other extreme and started celebrating like the obese, unhealthy thing, and then it's all of now there's like fat acceptance, you know, this whole
Which it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be necessarily like attacked, but it shouldn't be. I guess the word is. It should be accepted but not promoted.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I'm like.
I think
Absolutely acceptance. Sorry. So what by fat acceptance I mean absolutely fat people who are larger should not feel shame. However, I do believe that they should
want to
feel
get,
they should feel that like they should change. Do you know what I mean?
Or at least be aware that
Yeah.
it's not.
I think
It's not that a healthy lifestyle.
the thing that
Yes.
should be
It's because
promoted
that's just
is-
straight up health.
Exactly.
the thing
that's
that
just straight
should
up
be
health.
promoted is a healthy lifestyle.
An apple a day.
An apple a
Exactly.
day keeps the fucking doctors away.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
apples, exercise, a couple salads, get some good,
So
put it
all of
diet.
your diet then.
I don't follow
everything that you eat.
but
Yeah.
I'm able to be
So
healthy.
that's another
That's true.
interesting
That's true.
point. If you are happy being larger,
Plus sized.
fantastic.
If you're happy the way you are, just
Exactly.
Go
But
off, kid.
I think people should know that it's not healthy. And if you're alright with that, you're alright with that. It's like people, if you're doing a buttload of drugs, right? Just hella drugs.
like a fridge,
all day, every day.
fridge of heroin.
All the time. Everyone knows that's not good for you, right? If you're happy
It
with
isn't.
that,
Well,
if you're happy
Could
with
you
that,
please back that up with some science?
if you're happy with that, fucking have at it, mate. If you're alright with, if you're alright with like dying young because you've done a buttload of drugs for 5 years, and you think it's worth it, fine. If you're not, if you're doing it out of ignorance, that's so like beyond it.
Yeah. Stop looking at me.
yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
I think this all links back to like a big issue in society that we should stop we shouldn't decide on if we like somebody based on what they look like. It's like they're
It's their heart that matters.
yeah, it is.
I love
It
how
is.
I
Connor.
love
I
how
don't know why
I
you're
love how
joking about
we
this.
started this podcast and we were like, oh, toxic masculinity for sure, and now we're on. You know what? If you're happy with the way you look, stay that way. If you're not,
But it kind of fits in there.
Love yourself, like that
I mean,
Justin
it does.
Bieber
So
song.
let's tie it all back to masculinity for a
Okay,
second.
but first I'm gonna go on this rant.
Time's enough.
Go on your rant in 8
minutes.
minutes.
Go on my rant in 8 minutes. Okay, so if you're overweight, this applies to men and women both. If you're overweight, that's fine. If you're underweight, that's also fine. But it also links to all like if you're black or you're Latino or you're Asian or white, other people shouldn't decide on whether they like you or your personality based on that fact. They should actually get to know you and get to know what
Yeah.
you think and all that stuff first.
Yeah, I guess that's the other thing is that the portrayal. Okay, this is going way off toxic masculinity.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's the other thing is that the portrayal.
Racism now. God damn.
Dude, bro, we've gone down a rabbit hole. But like, it's because again, it's that whole thing of it's that what's portrayed a lot are sort of like skinny, tall white people.
Yeah.
It's that and although there's obviously a clear now range, there's clearly a push for diversity in models. It's still there's a long way to go. Like I'm pretty sure Victoria's Secret is still like 90% tall, skinny white people.
Okay, agree. Now, we're at the end of Alice in Wonderland. Let's climb out of the rabbit hole and link this back to masculinity. I think it all fits to what I was saying before, but it's more feelings as well and what you want to do. It's the societal norms that this stuff over here is for men and you can't do anything else over here.
So I think the conclusion to the podcast should be, that society has assigned people certain things, like a man shouldn't cry, a man should man up, is what we discussed
sir.
before. A fat person is
They should feel disgusted.
they are according to society.
Sarcasm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Connor.
And
to clarify.
society has also said skinny tall white women are the pinnacle of beauty. Do you know what I mean?
Or men. Like, I don't know.
And exactly, and then like ripped, unattainable 4% body fat.
It's like the standard of
like
what a-
Connor,
My
as an
chiseled
example.
physique.
It's like the standard of what a
Like
man
a
is.
statue.
Yeah. So society said that's what a man should be, and you know what I mean. So
Yes,
we're saying, I think, tell me if you disagree, that it should be deconstructed and looked at, right?
In a reductionist perspective. philosophy. Sorry. Okay, continue.
Reductionist percent?
Yeah.
What does that
So
mean?
We've got, sorry, no, we've got
No.
5 minutes left.
It's okay. It's okay.
I think we need to continue this later on. There should be
Yeah,
part
this
two
is,
and stuff.
I think we'll continue this off the podcast.
Yeah.
Or we
on.
could have
We can have a part two. You know what? We'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Let us know if you want a part 2.
Yeah.
Continue with the point.
Absolutely. Well,
Donate to our Kickstarter.
Just to conclude, is societal norms should be broken down, like either just let people do what they want to do, or looked at, which I think would probably be the best way to like go about it, because society nowadays is so dependent on media and things like that. So
Yeah.
if you don't push for a certain thing in the media, people won't follow it.
Factual.
Exactly.
I don't think we can change everyone, but we can definitely change enough people to make
We
it
can't
accept-
change anyone. We're just
We can change
four idiots
ourselves.
in a room.
We can
This
change
is
ourselves.
true.
yeah,
But I mean,
yeah,
as
yeah.
a society, we can't go into the deep south Trump area of
Yeah,
America
exactly.
and be like, you just got to start accepting everyone. That's not gonna happen.
No
But we-
offense to our Trump supporters watching.
Definitely not. It's just you're stupid.
Jesus Christ.
But we can definitely change enough people in the world through the media and stuff.
Yeah.
Not us personally, again, but we can change it so that everyone feels acceptable
Yeah.
somewhere in the world being who they want to be.
Absolutely.
Um,
And to conclude,
so I think that's where we're gonna end it, boys.
Yeah.
that was
Thank you.
another decent podcast
That
you started.
hopefully we don't
we
delete.
don't delete. Actually,
Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for watching. Now, Akshay, would you please follow me for a second?
Keep this in the podcast.
Yeah. So we're just gonna come over here.
Now,
So you
you're
see
going to
this
hear
little
a
button?
step-by-step Akshay saving the
So you're
podcast.
gonna click this button,
Click the button, Akshay.
and then you're gonna go to File, and then you're gonna click
But
Save.
remember, we gotta say bye before we
So
click
everyone-
it.
recording, mate.
Bye, guys. Thank you
Bye.
for watching.
Thank you very
Let
much
us know
for
if you
watching
have
this.
ever felt any toxic masculinity or toxic femininity
Leave it in the comments.
in your life.
Leave it in the comments.
If you're watching.
And now a 5-second silence for Akshay to press the save button. Bye.